DevOps Miller. This is Rohit Singh. Firstly, Happy New Year to everyone. And apology, I have not been uploading videos frequently, but don't worry. This year I'll make sure I cover new topics and I keep on uploading new videos more frequently. Let's get started and let's see what we are doing today. Before we move on to the next module, there's one very important topic which I wish to cover. That is templating in YAML. Now, what exactly is templating? So, templating refers to reusable YAML files. So, what you can do, this will allow you to define common logic, tasks, and stages across multiple pipelines. Now, to understand templating, you need to understand one important topic called as task groups. Now, we have already seen task group in the previous modules. Now, what exactly was task group? Task group used to help us encapsulate sequence of tasks that are already defined in a pipeline into a single reusable task. That means if you have some common tasks across multiple pipelines, what you can do, you can create a task group and you can centrally manage those tasks, and you can use those tasks wherever you want. Whether it's a build pipeline, whether it's a release pipeline, you can use it. So it's more like a catalog. You create a catalog, you manage it centrally, and you use it wherever you want. Okay, that helps you with reusability. But the problem with task group was it was only used in classic pipeline. So what about YAML pipeline? How do we have such things in YAML pipeline? For such things we have templates. Now if you want reusability in YAML file, then we have to use templates. Now what can templates do? Templates can help you with reusable. So there could be some reusable component which you can use it. It can help you with maintainability. It also supports parameterizations, and it is completely YAML based. So a very simple example to understand templates. Let's imagine your company has some application, a .NET application. Now there could be a different version of .NET application within your company. It could be 3.1, 5.0, 6.0 and XYZ. Now if I want to create a pipeline, let's take an example. Let's go into your .NET application. Okay, this was the .NET application what we are using since beginning. Now let's do one thing. Let's create a pipeline for this .NET application. So what is the standard way of creating? We go to new pipeline, we go to YAML, we look for that application, and we select like a template from here. For example, it was a .NET project. So we got some default task, and this way we will add our own task and we'll go and get ourselves a .NET application created, a build pipeline created for .NET application. Okay, this is what we do. Now this particular pipeline which we have created, this is very specific to this .NET application. What if there are 100 different .NET application where we need to have similar kind of task? Okay, but it could be having a different version, it could be having a different package manager, it could be having a different NuGet version, or XYZ, or it could be possible that you want to integrate some sort of more testing in those applications and things like that. But what is common? The common is this particular task is getting repeated. Okay, so either one way, you go and get your applications created with and have these tasks added to all those YAML files, or you can do one thing. You can create a template, okay, which will be created into a separate repository. You will have these tasks added over there, and you just refer whenever you want to run all these tasks. What you do, you just refer as a template. Okay, what benefit you will get after doing this? The benefit will be you will have a centralized repository wherein you're maintaining your task and you're just referring to your pipelines using those templates. And whenever you want to do some sort of update, some sort of changes, you directly go to that repository, you do your commit. Okay, there are many things this template supports. As I said, you can reuse this template. You can improve your maintainability. You can have you can parameterize your complete YAML, and you just call the parameters. Like imagine you want to have a dev environment, QA environment, and so this way also you can do the parameterization. One classic example, we use it a lot. We use it for Terraform, mostly in companies. And nowadays you will see everything in templates, guys. When you start working into a DevOps engineer role, you will see everything defined as a template. One classic example, Terraform. There are some common tasks across Terraform. You will have init, apply, you will have plan. Then everything can be defined as a template, and whenever you want to run any resource creation, you simply call that template and you will execute those Terraform stages. Okay, let's see how it works, then it will start making more sense. So the first thing what we can do is we go and get ourselves a repository created. We will name this repository templates. Okay. In this template, what I will do, I'll create a template file. I'll have a file created. I'll do everything over here itself. I'll name this file as template.yaml. Okay, and what I'll do, this task, because this is the task which I want to execute, I'll copy these tasks and put it over here. Now, these variables and everything is not required, so I'll just remove all these parts. The only thing is required steps. You can also have steps, you can also have parameters, you can also have stages. So the whichever way you want to define your template, you can do it. So the first task is NuGet install. I can be more choosy over here. I can have something like this defined, inputs, and I can have version. Now what this will help us, so if I'm using this template for some other application wherein I'm using a different version over there, I can define the version as a variable. Okay, so this way we can reuse this template multiple times. I can have a variable created, name this as version. Perfect. Same thing, this looks good. Okay, if you have test cases, even this is good. And I can also add copy task, and I can have publish task. So let me just copy it from my previous project. So what this is doing, it is copying the zip file and it is dropping into my drop location. Simple. We have a template created. It has multiple tasks. One is the NuGet version, NuGet restore, building your application, testing your application if there's any unit test, then testing your application, copying the artifact and placing the artifact in the drop location. On a similar line, you can also have some more templates created. If you want to have SonarQube integration done, then you can also have more templates created if you want to run vulnerability scanning. So this way you can have multiple templates created, and in actual, when you create your build pipeline, you just call those templates. Okay, so this way you are safeguarding much of your time, wherein you already have a template module created and you just call those modules whenever and wherever it is required. Okay, we have the template ready, one part is ready. Let's get going and let's have a new pipeline created. Okay, so now this time what I'll do, I'll simply go to YAML file, I'll select my application, and this time let's create a starter pipeline. Okay, I don't need much information. Let me remove all this, and trigger and all, we can define triggers also, guys, but let me remove all this. And the one thing which I'll define over here will be the resource schema. Okay, now what exactly is resource schema? The resource schema, this particular block will help you define anything you want to use outside the pipeline. Okay, a resource is anything used by a pipeline that exists outside the pipeline. So after you define this resource, you can consume it anywhere in your pipeline. Now what exactly we want to consume? We want to consume this template. Okay, so that hence we are defining this resource schema. Okay, what this will contain, this resource schema will contain repositories. Okay, it will contain your repository name. There could be multiple repository. As I said, you can have multiple templates created. If you have multiple repository, you can define everything as a list over here. What is the name of a repository? Templates. Okay, let's define templates over here, because I want to consume this particular file, hence I'm doing all these. Okay, over here templates. And what else? Now this will have type. The type we are using is git name. So basically it is asking you where the path of your template, so you just have to define the name. So it is simply over here. So I'll just name this as template.yaml. Reference, so I'll keep it as main. Okay, I can also have, this is your agent. If you want to define your agent, I can use this Ubuntu latest, or because it's a .NET application, so I need to use Windows. So what I'll do, I'll define it as a variable, so that later if I want to change it, I just change it in my variable wherever I create my variable. Okay, all these are not required, so I'll just remove it. The only thing is required now is calling your template. Okay, how do you call your template? Very simple. Template, give your template name. So this is a template name. Okay, at, okay, the repository name. So the repository name is templates. That's it. Let me verify once. Template and templates. Okay, make sense? Okay, over here I need to also define the project where the templates are. So we can simply call it as, what is the project? It is Udemy 01. So I'll just have the project name also. Slash. Now what will happen when I create this pipeline, and when I run this pipeline, it will simply call this template, and whatever task is given in this template, those will get executed. Okay, now it is not ready yet, guys. So this is how simple this became. Now this is the only line we are running, guys. We are not managing anything over here. All the task is defined separately in a template, and we'll have a variable group created wherein we'll be managing all the values. All these values will be managing over there. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me have a variable group created. Let me save this for now. Okay, Udemy web app, let's name it as templates. Now let's create a variable group. There are multiple ways you can define variables in YAML. We already know it by now. Now the best way, if you're using template, the best way, what I think, is defining as a variable group under library. This way you can manage your variables separately, and you can whenever it's required, you can simply call those variables either inside your pipeline, or you can even call it inside your YAML file. So this is one way. The other way, when you're using YAML file, you can also get your variables defined over here. You can have your variables defined over here, and when you're defining it as a variable group, you can simply go to triggers, and you can call your variables right over here. So whichever way you like, you can go with it. Let me go with the variables inside the pipeline. So whichever way you like, you can go with it. Okay, let's define the variables. What are the different variables you can define? So if you go to your template, there are things like build platform. All these are variables which we need to define. So build platform, it could be any CPU. Then you have build configuration. I'll put it as a release. These values can change as per your requirement. And then you have a very important solution file. So I'll just give a path, something like this. And then what else we have? We have NuGet version. That's why the best way is to define it in your variable group, so that you can clone it if for some other project. If you want to use it, you simply clone it and just make changes to the values. So version, this is I believe it was 6.0.0 project which we are using NuGet. And there's one variable defined over here, VM image. So let's call that also VM image. And I'll require Windows latest. Okay, anything else needs to be defined? Let me check once. I don't think so. So we have a pipeline ready. Now this is your .NET pipeline, guys, one single line, and we just simply go and run it. Failed to load Azure repo specified by this pipeline. Let me refresh this. Let's go to the project. This is the pipeline. Okay, one mistake we did. Let's go back to the pipeline. I'll tell you the mistake. Now this is your repository name, guys. Templates. Project / your repository name. Okay, not your template name. Validate now. Let's see how it goes. Pipeline is valid. Now let's run it. Okay, perfect. Okay, it's getting executed. On a similar fashion, you can have your, if you want, this is the best way, as I said, and you can have all your variables created over here. And whenever there is a need, like if you want to use similar sort of variables for a different project, there is an option of clone. Simply clone it, then you can rename it and use it for a different project. Okay, in this way you will be safeguarding your time in creating variables. Also, you don't need to remember what variables you have called for that pipeline and things like that. So this is also a best approach. Let's wait. Current position in queue. So let's wait for the pipeline to get executed, and I'll pause the video over here and I'll come back once the pipeline is successful or failed, whatever the scenario is. And was successful. If you see, we have all the tasks got executed: install, NuGet restore, your build, test, copy, and at the end having the artifact file. Now if you go and look into your build, see the sources. This is where your application is residing. This is where your template is residing. So we got two repositories, and now if I go to publish, I can see my application right over here. Okay, while we were waiting, I have also went ahead and created a library just to demonstrate that. So a template variable group I have created. If you see, it's very similar variables and the values I have created. I'll show you how exactly you can use it in your pipeline. I can go to edit pipeline now, and in place of this variables which I have deleted already, so I'll go in to the triggers and go to the variable group and have your variable just linked over here. That's it, and save it and queue it, and you will see your pipeline running as it is. Now what is the purpose of variable group? We all know. This way you can maintain your variables separately, and whenever it is required for a different application, simply clone it, So you have a clone copy and rename it and change the value. Imagine it's a different version, 3.1, 5.0, or you want to use a self-hosted agent or anything as such, or you want to give an absolute path or anything as such. If you want to do, this is how variable group will be helping you. Now guys, to be very frank, templating is the method what you will be using in real time. Okay, if you're working as a DevOps, so make sure if your company is not using templating method, use templates. Be it is for a Terraform. Okay, get all the Terraform task templates created. You can also use it for moduling, like you can have a Terraform golden modules created and just call those modules and run it in your pipeline. That way you can centrally manage everything into separate repositories. Or be it if it's for any application, we have seen this for .NET application. In a similar fashion, you can also do for the Java application what we had, correct? We had a Java application wherein we had so many tasks added. Can we not define these stages as a template and just call those templates in your YAML file, making it more readable? Can we not have this SonarQube task into a separate template and just call the SonarQube templates, so that whenever I want to make any changes into my SonarQube, I simply go and do it at the template level? There are pulling timeout, there are SonarQube keys over here. Can we not define this as a variable group? Or can we not, one more benefit of using variable group, we can link the Azure Key Vault. Okay, so can we not do that? Okay, so there are immense opportunity if you're using template, and you can get your pipelines defined in a very well in a systematic manner and in a structured manner. Okay, so go and explore how exactly you can use templates in your existing project or in your existing pipelines. Okay, that's it from this templating method. Thank you very much. Bye bye.